Welcome back to Faceless Content Mastery. This is an important lesson because I'm going to be teaching you how to write winning scripts. And this is an important lesson, an important piece to the puzzle here of Faceless Content Mastery because I'm teaching you to control what we can control. In this entire world of social media and getting the results we want, the one thing we can't guarantee is the outcome of how many views we're going to get, how many followers, how many sales we're going to get from a post. But what we can do, and what I'm teaching you here, is how to control what we can control, the inputs. And writing winning scripts is one of these inputs that increases the likelihood of us getting a great output. Even though we can't control the outputs, we can put in so much great inputs that the likelihood of a good output is also very high. So let's hop onto my computer here and get into this, because a winning script doesn't just have to be a script that converts and makes sales. A winning script can also be defined as a script that gets someone to watch through an entire post. It gets them to leave a comment, gets someone to follow, share. I would still consider that a winning script. And you may think right now that the purpose of scripting is to sell, but let's not forget that before you are able to actually sell, you need to learn how to communicate. So during your testing campaign, which is something you'll be doing in a future lesson where I finally have you start posting, you'll be writing winning scripts with the goal of getting to know these 5 things about your viewers. What's triggering them? What makes this audience come alive? What are the beliefs that they will defend? What makes them argue? And what kind of content brings them the most value? And these 5 things are important because after you figure these out, you then have a framework to be able to hook and trigger them, to be able to resonate with them, to support what they believe in, to make them argue, and then to create enough value to be able to sell. And that's how you tap into the depths of your viewers. So I want to talk about now a few different examples here when it comes to writing a winning script, and starting with the hook, which is the most important part for you, which is essentially just like the topic. This is where you start with your scripts and then it continues on. So let's take the example from a prior lesson, top tier men. It's an account in the niche of high value men, which is higher status, and I want to make a post that's going to trigger this audience. I'm going to use hooks like this right here. Why modern men struggle with becoming high value men. High value men versus modern men. High value men can never be like modern men. 3 things high value men do not do. The difference between modern men and high value men. Everything here is placed so that the viewer gets triggered. You want to make them feel a little like, whoa. Like what? You want to catch their attention. And these types of posts usually don't get a ton of new followers, but you will see exactly what is triggering your viewers the most. Maybe 2 out of these 5 hooks will get people to really engage, get them really riled up, but now you know what's going to trigger this audience. There's certain things that trigger your audience and you don't know until you actually do a testing campaign, which you'll be doing in the future. But these are some examples of hooks on how you could actually do that, and you could just switch this up for your own niche. Now, let me give you some more examples. Let's say we want to make our viewers come alive. I want to make aspiring high-value men feel love, peace, happiness, and make them feel like their dreams are coming true, that they're becoming a high-value man. That's when I'm going to use hooks like this. High-value men have these 5 traits. And the reason I like this one and put that on here is just because there's going to be someone watching this who's an aspiring high-value man, and maybe 1 or 2 of those traits they have already and they relate to it. They'll be like, oh, like I'm becoming a high value man, or I am a high value man. You're making them come alive. Next, why high value men will never pick the hot women. As a high value man, ... You know you're a high value man if you feel like this. The 3 main habits that high value men have. These are just a few examples of hooks I would use to create posts in my niche that would reassure the aspiring high value men watching it. And these types of posts usually do get a lot of followers and engagement because you're basically telling people what they want to hear. Now, how do you get people to argue in the comments? This part is pretty easy because it's just politics. You have the left wing and the right wing. You have flat earthers, you have round earthers. You have Republican, you got Democrat. Your job with making people argue in the comments is just to create content that will resonate with the 2 different types of people, just specifically in your niche. So let's say in this niche, as an example, I'm going to have, the low value men and the high value men. These are the 2 ends of the spectrum, and I want to make them argue in the comments. In this case scenario, it's kind of similar to getting people triggered. I'll use hooks like, only real high value men know these rules. Why are modern men bad for society? Why are high value men better than modern men? Modern men have forgotten these rules. Why men that practice integrity live a better life than most that don't. Essentially, all of these hooks are just statements that are not true. They're not 1 + 1 = 2. They're true, but only to certain people. It's just like if I say right now, the sun gives us light. We can all agree on that. But if I say the sun is a two-dimensional square, there's two sides. There may be people that agree with me, and there'll be people that don't. And the people that agree strongly with their beliefs will argue about it. And what you're doing is dividing two sides of people and presenting that one is better than the other, and you explain why. And these kinds of scripts go viral more often just because people spend more time in the comments arguing. It's more watch time, more engagement, and that's what these platforms want. TikTok wants people to stay on their platform as long as possible. So if you're contributing to that, the likelihood of TikTok pushing your post more goes up. And this type of post really gives you the ability to know, in this case, which men have the biggest pain points and along with their values and how to go viral from it. And then we can get into the easiest one, which is how do you bring your audience, your viewers, value? It's the easiest because it's usually just tips, tricks, and strategies. And you'll see that when you post this type of content, it gets saved and shared the most because it's real value. Usually people will save it and maybe they look back at it later, typically not. People just like to save these types of things. And it's just a good type of content. You're building goodwill with the people. And let's say we want to make aspiring high value men feel like they learned something today. They learned something new and it benefited them. I could use hooks like how to have a high value nature. Here's one lesson for modern men. 6 high value traits for men. 4 tips for modern men from high value men. 5 high value facts that will shock you. All of these example hooks are targeted towards learning, and it's important because this type of post will lead into monetization once you start to notice trends of seeing exactly what brings your viewers the most value. Maybe in this case, it's the lessons. You know, the modern men want more lessons on how to become a high value man. Maybe they care more about the traits and the actual skills and something someone needs to know and live by to become a high value man. All of the things may boil down to the same concepts, but people like the value delivered in different ways. And once you figure that out, that gives you some good ideas on how to market your product and make sales like we'll talk about later on. Now you might be thinking, Tanner, what the fuck? Where's the rest of the script? Well, you're not wrong. But there's more to add, and it's way easier than this part. And I'll be showing you as we continue into the actual post creation strategies. A lot of people like to overcomplicate the process of creating a winning script, but if you can start just with the right type of hook, understanding the purpose and the different types like I've shown you here in this lesson, that's the hardest part of a winning script. So now you've already done that. You've already created a winning script just by understanding these hooks. And the rest that follows along is much easier. And we'll get into that, as I said. So let's fucking go. Let's keep making progress and keep watching these videos. And don't start posting until you get to the testing campaign lesson. And I will see you there. Peace.